next season. George went just 2 for 16 from the field on Friday night, and the Thunder were eliminated from the playoffs. He'll be an unrestricted free agent this summer. So, Shannon, should Paul George stay or go?
Go. I don't see why he would stay. Skip it. Kevin Durant couldn't make it work. Who's going to be able to make it work? It's got to be someone like a Steven Adams that he's just basically a grunt work guy. You know, get some rebounds, take the ball out, set picks. That's what he is. But these guys want to be heavy contributors. Look at Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo looks like a different player in Indiana than he did in OKC. You look at Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant is a superstar, so he can transcend anyone. So any system you put him in, he's such a great talent. He's gonna thrive. But Paul George, he needs the ball. Russell needs the ball, and Russell feels that I can get us back in it. Skip, that last game in Utah, Skip. Russell shot the ball 43 times, 18 of 43. They shot the ball in the second half. Russell took more shots than the entire team, 28 to 21. The whole team shot the ball 50 times. Russell shot it 43. Skip, how do you win like that? How do you convince superstars, other superstar players? So you know what, guys? Come play with Russ. Everybody they marvel at the triple dubs. They marvel at the athleticism. Nobody is dying to go play with Russ. They got Carmelo basically because he waved his. Carmelo's a shell of himself. They got Carmelo because the Knicks you got to go. We don't want you here. We're going to go Porzingis. We're going to go in that direction. Skip, Paul George got to go. Paul George wants to win. He's not going to win there. Okay, yeah, they get to the playoffs. Going to probably get knocked out the first round every time. But if Paul George wants to have some resemblance of a career where he's thought of Paul George was a pretty good player, OKC is not the place for him.
I cannot tell you how much I disagree with every point you just made, all of them wrong-headed. I respect Russ. I respect how hard he plays. I respect the sacrifices he tried to make for Melo and Paul George.
What about for KD? What about that? That's the sacrifice he should have made.
They were up 3-1 on the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
KD and Russ.
KD and Russ happened because neither one of them were very good, and they couldn't blend, they couldn't mesh, they couldn't meld. There was one basketball, and one guy got to dribble it up and make the first decision every time down the court. And that was Russell Westbrook.
True.
Back to Paul George. He is the ultimate complementary player. And I think he was much happier alongside Russ than he was trying to lead the show in Indiana. Because every time he was on stage against LeBron and it was his turn in time and the door swung wide open, what did he do last year? Every time he gets LeBron, he turned back into George Paul.
Ain't no shame in that, Skip. Ain't no shame in losing to LeBron James.
Guy. And anybody, I'm warning anybody out there who wants to pay the max to make Paul George their savior, he'll turn right back into George Paul, and you'll feel like you wasted your money, and you will forever be frustrated because he's not that guy. And what happened in the first round? I did pick the Thunder this year to win the West and get to the finals. And I did so because I thought Melo had been saving himself for the playoffs and he would turn back into Melo. And to your point, he's just another Anthony.
Yeah.
I couldn't recognize, I don't know who he is anymore. And he says, well, I didn't have a role, and the way they used me is wrong. I get all that.
Yeah, you do have a role.
You know what?
Put the ball in the basket. When they give it to you, you put the ball in the basket.
He looks like he has a roll around his tummy. That's what he looks like.
God.
Well,
I'm serious. That was low, Skip.
No,
that one.
He's carrying too much weight. He's an older player who needs to get to Alex Guerrero and shape up.
Yeah, you
because
be like
this
my
is hard,
guy.
Man.
Like my guy.
Yeah, he does need to be like your guy. He needs to get in the gym with your guy, and I don't think he's got that gear in him. I think it always came pretty naturally to Carmelo, and he was such a load in the low post, and all of a sudden he's looking in the mirror like, aren't I still? Nope, you're not still that guy.
No, you're just Carmelo Anthony in name,
You're
not in skill set anymore.
Yeah,
but let me ask you this, Skip. Russell Westbrook is about to be 30 in November. Let's just say there's a decrease in athleticism. Then what?
Okay, well, back to my point. They drew the ultimate worst first-round matchup for them because they're not a great three-point shooting outfit. They're a little better this year, but the ultimate rim protector in all of basketball is that 7'1" guy, the Stifle Tower in Utah. What is Russell? What is the fire starter for the Thunder? It's Russell getting to the rim, right, and creating havoc because you can't keep him from the rim. And if you send two after him at the rim and to contest, he's going to dump it to Steven Adams, and he's going to have a big night, or he's going to kick it to somebody for an open jump shot. And in this case, Russ kept attacking and getting stymied at the rim by the long arm of the law of Utah, which was Rudy Gobert. And it just took Russ out of what he did. And in that crucial, the last 1 minute of that game, it's going to take me 5 years to get over it. But why did that happen? Because Paul George turned back into George Paul in the crucial Game 6. This is the biggest game of the year, and the guy you're betting on, a guy who, check this out, this year he had games, he scored 43, 42, 40. He had 38 in the win at Golden State, and he had 36 in that win at Cleveland. Remember the 148 win? Yes. And this guy, George Paul, shot 2 for 16 in Game 6. He was 0 for 6 from 3, and he did not make a field goal for the last 44 minutes of the most crucial game of the year. That's the guy somebody's going to give a max contract to?
Yeah, but he can't get a rhythm. Because your guy is constantly shooting the ball. 18 or 43.
How did he have games of 43, 42, 40? I think he was more than happy.
Okay, how about this here? Look at those games in which he had that 43, 42 and see how many shot attempts did Russell get. The likelihood of him having 42 points and Russell having 42 shot attempts is not very good. That's the problem.
Okay,
remember,
but with the season teetering, Russell Westbrook said, I guess I got to go solo. I guess it's all me.
He's been going solo all along.
I tweeted at halftime. You can look it up on Friday night. It's degenerated into Russ or bust because that's all they had. And what did he do in the third quarter? I told you it was one of the great playoff shootouts I've ever witnessed was Russell Westbrook versus Donovan Mitchell. And they went back and forth, tit for tat, mano a mano. You make one, I'll top it. 20 for Russ, 22 for Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. And they're just hanging on for dear life in the fourth quarter. And Russ just willed them and kept them in the game. And I told you, with a minute left, they're down 3. They got the ball. They have 6 shots at it. 6.
How many did Russ miss?
3.
Exactly.
And Paul George missed 3. And Paul George, I thought, got fouled on a 3-point shot.
No,
the first one. No, I'm talking about the first one in that series. And on the last one, that's begging. That's wishing and hoping. Yes. And I don't blame the refs in the end, even though most... James Harden gets that call 100 out of 100 times, but still, it's like you're begging for one last 3 free throws, and then you're all looking at the referee, and you let the clock run out while they go to the other end, and it just was a pathetic end to what could have been a great run.
Yeah. The likelihood of OKC winning a game in which Russell attempts 19 threes, how likely is that going to be?
Okay, but they were there. They had a chance. He made 7 of them, which by his standard, that's pretty good.
The mere fact that he took 19 is not very good.
You could see at halftime he was going to have to do that, or they were going to get blown out by 20. Skip. Did they not have a chance?
Yes.
And if they got it back to Oklahoma City for Game 7, what do you think would have happened?
But that's the problem, though, Skip. He's untrusting of his teammates. So every time the little thing...
Well, after a half, you would have been too.
No, look, after what LeBron just...
It's like
LeBron went through a whole series.
Okay, the way LeBron is looking side-eye at Kevin Love at halftime last night is the way Kevin was looking at Paul George at halftime of Game 6 in Utah.
You mean Russ?
Huh?
You mean
Russ. But you're like, what are you doing, man?
But Skip,
can't make a shot.
Okay, but if he's looking at Paul George like that, how you think KD looking at him?
Well, I told you somewhere Kevin Durant is chuckling over this, saying, I told you so.
Yeah.
Okay?
So,
but Paul George belongs here.
No, why?
He belongs.
Why?
This will be his best shot to be happy, and I still think if they get one more piece, they can make a run. Steven Adams played pretty big.
He played really good, but I just don't know how you win with Russ playing the way he does.
Well, he's not going to change.
Well, he's not going to get superstars to come join him.
Well, I guess we'll find out this agency season. Has all the criticism of Des Bryant been unfair? We'll discuss that next.